Finally! After nearly a year and a half of seeing absolutely no play whatsoever because Konami decided to release it with a Limit 3 limitation, Armageddon Knight has been freed of its shackles. It should never have been on there whatsoever, as it meant the card could just not be used anywhere, so finally Konami has fixed that situation and allowed this card to see some play. But that's not the only card that got freed. We also got the Croc back. Now this card's actually quite important for Fluor decks because a lot of the time there are Limit 1 limitations for archetypes, meaning we can't play Power Tool Dragon like most Fluor decks do. So this Croc means we finally have a decent level 9 synchro to go into that isn't Power Tool because that card's unavailable for a lot of archetypes that have Limit 1s. And I can think of the perfect archetype that can make use of both of these changes. So here's today's deck list. But just a reminder before I go through the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see some more content just like this in the future, more deck lists from me in the future, please remember to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel down below. Alright, let's jump into this list. Alright, so obviously I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the cards in this archetype, considering I do a lot of Fluor videos and a lot of Orcust videos on this channel, so if you're someone that watches my videos regularly, you probably know what these cards do by now. But just in case you've missed the newer cards, we have your Armageddon Knight. This thing, when it is summoned, you can send one Dark monster from your deck to the graveyard. Obviously, you just send Harp Horror and you have a 1-card starter for the entire archetype. It just means this deck is way more consistent now because it has 3 Armageddon Knight, which is all a starter. You have your Harp Horror, which is a starter. You have 3 Scrap Recycler, also a starter. And we have Small World. And thanks to the way this deck is built, unless you open literally like your field spell and 3 Small Worlds, you're going to have a starter to use with your Small World to search for any card in the deck list. And the other new card in the deck is your Ravenous Croc Dragon Arcustus, or however you pronounce this thing. Just the Croc, basically. This thing, when it's Synchro Summon, draws cards equal to the number of non-tuners used for its Synchro Summon, and as a quick effect, can discard 2 cards, target 1 card on the field, and destroy it. Ideally, this deck would like to use Power Tool Dragon, but we can't because it conflicts with the field spell, which means, well, Orcust doesn't really do much without its field spell, as you have no disruption during your opponent's turn, so it's kind of pointless to play it, so we have to use your field spell, and because of that, we can't play the level 9 we want to use, so we're using the Croc Dragon instead, as there's basically no other good level 9s in the game. This thing just gives you a nice little bit of interruption to use during your opponent's turn. And yeah, that's basically it for the deck list, so without further ado, let's check out some gameplay. Alright, so today I've got 6 replays to share with you guys, and if you guys are interested in seeing more gameplay with this deck after this video, I'll probably be streaming it tomorrow, so if you're interested in seeing some more gameplay, just feel free to tune into that video live or that stream live, or just check the VOD later, but I should be doing a stream of this tomorrow where I take it all the way to King of Games. I've already reached Legend 5 with this deck, so it's definitely a King of Games worthy deck for sure. Would I take it to a tournament? Probably not. I think this just kind of takes advantage of the shitter players on the ladder that aren't necessarily as good at the archetypes they're playing, and just easily farms them. But if you took this up against a top tier player in a top tier event or something, it might struggle quite a bit, but against the more average player that isn't exactly the god gamers or any insane whatever, you're probably going to have a good time with this. I beat a lot of top tier archetypes, as you'll see in here. I've got like your Predaplants, got your Resonators, got your Exosisters I think we got in here. We had Borreload and Hero, plenty of decent archetypes. This deck can definitely compete against the top stuff, but it's not... Yeah, I think it's more just the quality of players I'm going against isn't exactly insane, just because it's ladder stuff, but yeah. I do think Orcust, it is a lot better than it was. Like, it's way more functional now as a deck, which is fantastic. It's just not quite good enough where I would say it's like a top tier archetype or anything. But certainly good enough to mess around the ladder with and easily reach Cog with it, for sure. Alright, so starting us off, we're normal summoning our dude, sending our scrap to our horror to the graveyard. Using our skill boost, making the XL Synchro Stardust, gives us a level 2 and a level 1 to the field. Alright, these two make your Ravenous Croc. Drawing a card. Unfortunately, there's a lot of draws in here that are kind of bad, because we draw into the field spell. It's like, god damn it, I was going to search for this anyway, but whatever. Alright, making the Linkuriboh. Obviously, you have to make this Linkuriboh here, or you can do it sort of with the skill as well, using the Orcust stuff when I summon it to the field in a bit. But basically, you have to clear up a zone so I can actually put the Orcust dude on the field. Alright, now I get the Orcust on the field. These two make the Galatea. Because do keep in mind, obviously, your level 1, wherever he is in the graveyard, he isn't actually a dark monster, so you have to make sure you do a summon with this before you go into your Orcust stuff, otherwise you can't summon it. So to clear up the field, you have to go into the Linkaribo here. Alright. You can also do it by using your skill as well, by sending this card to the graveyard and doing the combo line sort of differently, but then you just waste your skill, so it feels kind of bad. I think you'll see me do that in some of the earlier replays. Alright, unfortunately we get Effect Veiled here, but this poor guy. Effect Veils me, even though I have the Babble in hand. Alright, making the IP Masquerader. So normally you'd want to keep Dingirsu on the field, but against heroes specifically, if I kept Dingirsu on the field, obviously they super poly away the IP Masquerader, and then I have no way of putting Ding in the graveyard anymore, unless I want to use my Crocodile, discard 2 on my own Ding, which is not ideal, so I'm going to manually make sure to keep Ding in the graveyard for, obviously, this replay. This was intentional. But normally you have Ding on the field to protect you from destruction. So we've got your Crocodile to pop a card, we've got Dingirsu would normally on the field to protect your cards from destruction. We have IP Masquerader, which can go into either your Underworld Goddess using the Crocodile after you've used this effect, or of course you can wait till later on, even use some back some Orcust cards, then go into your Nightmare Unicorn, whichever one you want to go into. Obviously Nightmare Unicorn wouldn't be very good here, because we have 2 cards in hand and Croc's going to need those to discard. Normally you have 1 extra card in hand, because you don't open Babble, which you search for anyway, but yeah. Normally it's better to go into Goddess most of the time anyway, because it's just a better card. Alright, and this deck has plenty of follow-up, even without any cards in hand, because obviously you're playing Orcust, and you've got tons of stuff in your graveyard. You'll see anyway, because Dingirsu normally puts something below it, and yeah, you get to a... Yes, they've got plenty of follow-up in the graveyard. Makes himself a Sunrise. Not really going to do a whole lot here, just going to chill. Anything I try to target with the Croc, he's just going to Super Poly with, so I'm basically waiting for him to use the Super Poly before I do anything. I'll wait for him to Neo's Fusion, because then he can't use Super Poly. Alright. He tries to go to battle phase here, unfortunately that means we have to use the IP Masquerader, otherwise he can't use it again. Gets Super Poly'd in response. Alright, now we can use the Crocodile to pop a card on the field. We're now in the battle phase, so he can't use Neo's Fusion anymore. Send a card to the graveyard, resummon back the Ding, sending a card, and this entire time he had Droplet in hand? I guess he just was saving it the entire time for the Ding resummon, which is like, I mean, sure, but I don't know, very weird. Anyway. These two becoming the Galatea. This is why, by the way, you play a second copy of Galatea, is there's plenty of times on follow-up where you actually just need to get cards from your graveyard, or from your field into the graveyard, especially considering, you'll see this in other replays, you'll put Heart back on the field thanks to, a lot of time you use your Wonder Wand to revive back the Heart from the Banished pile, and you have no way of getting in the graveyard to revive the Ding. So you do need a second Galatea, or some sort of dark monster. Alright, there's my Heart from the deck here, because we shuffled it back earlier. And we still got Disruption here. We still got the Dingirsu in graveyard. Alright, signing back the Ding right now, because he's trying to destroy the field spell. Now here, instead of sending a card to the graveyard, we're actually going to equip the Ding with a monster. This is because against Hero, they like to summon their dude to the field that nukes the field, and that would not be very good for us. So making it so that he can't destroy the field. So I'm not particularly worried about the field getting wiped, I'm just making sure that he can't kill us on this turn. If he beats over our stuff, we don't really care. He tries to swing into the one monster he can't kill, which is like, okay. I don't even need to use the Ding's protection here. Make a nice little Underworld Goddess. And of course, yeah, Nightmare can send, revive. You notice, by the way, we've used this card so many times in this replay, and we only have 1 copy of it. We've just been recycling it so often, so we get a lot of value out of the Galatea recycles and the Dingirsu just grabbing stuff back from the Banished pile, or even this card grabbing stuff back from the Banished pile. Alright, next up we have... was this a mirror match? It was a floor on floor, but I don't think he was playing Orcust. He was playing some kind of floor. Oh yeah, this guy just played really badly, I remember now. This guy had the This is what I mean by ladder players being lower quality. This guy had the option to go into Trishula, which would have just absolutely ended me. I checked his deck list afterwards to see if he had Trishula, and he just didn't summon it for some reason, so I don't know about this guy. Alright, Armageddon Knight sending to Graveyard. These two are going to be adjusting the level, making your Stardust. Summon the 2, summon the 1. Nice little chain block here so we can't use a hand trap, which by the way, this guy actually had the hand trap. As you'll see it later on when I try to use the Orcust cards, I think. Or when I try to use Bulb. No, you didn't use the Bulb. Then Karibo. Tries to use Harpora and he has Skullmeister. A bit annoying, because now our infield is significantly going to be impacted. But we do actually we got a Lucky Mill from the Glow Up Bulb, which sent Nightmare, I think, so we could still combo a bit. Reviving back, these two making the Automatum. Shuffling back in, grabbing the field spell. Making the ding, but unfortunately we couldn't end on... Yeah, we can't end with Dingisu on the field, meaning we don't actually have access to Underworld Goddess this turn, because even if we summon back the Orcust cards, we're locked to Dark, and Underworld Goddess is Light, so we're a little bit screwed on going into that. We can only go into Nightmare Unicorn here, which feels pretty bad. Also no ding on the field to protect us from the potential Fleur card, which destroys our stuff. Normally this deck would be pretty good against Fleur, I'd imagine, because you just block the destruction effect with Dingisu. But yeah, not particularly good when... Yeah, he's forced us into this. So this forces out our IP, which is really bad because you lose our Croc as well. Maybe I should have draw phase summon a dude to the field. Actually, we don't have a harp anymore. I could have draw phase used this actually, then I could have had a, rather than using the Crocodile, I'd actually be able to go into our Nightmare Unicorn. That would have been better. I should have put a dude on the field, so I didn't have to use the Croc yet. Alright, shuffling back his dude. He's gonna summon this card. Obviously, can't summon the Orcust cards because I'll just summon my Orcust in response. Alright, making a Chevalier. Necrosynchro summoning the 1. Makes Power Tool. I'm not gonna use my Orcust stuff in response yet because, well, there's no real point. Second thing comes to the field, he just negates it. But yeah, at this point here, he could have just made Trishula with the 9, 10, 11, and that would have just banished all my stuff. Because then if I try to summon anything back, it's non-target, so it just banishes everything, he just kills me. But for some reason, he didn't. He decided to try to use the Power Tool's effect. I'm like, great. I'll just summon back my guy. Should just use all the effects of them, actually. Build a nice little wall for myself, get the level 9 off the field. He tries to go battle phase here, or he sets up. I don't know what he was doing. And yeah, we can clean this up very easily. If you're not killing the Orcust player, he's going to grind your ass. That's a weird sentence I just said. Anyway, summon the Galatea. Galatea, Symbol Skeleton can revive back the Dingisu. Yeah, I think there was more stuff I could have done here, but it was already dead on field, so it didn't really matter. I think I just went battle phase and hit him. Yeah. He definitely could have won this, and I could have played this better too. I could have kept the Croc on the field. Alright. Up next, we've got... I think this guy was Exosister. So I saved this replay because I went second, and I wanted to show this deck. I'll beat this guy without using my graveyard. Which is weird, because Fleur actually just obviously, especially with the Orcust variation, wants to use the graveyard, so... Alright. This deck actually has a pretty good matchup into Exosister, because you just play the Kaiju, which I could search for here if I needed it. So even if he wanted to sell the big Exosister, he'd just get Kaiju and basically lose instantly. But I think this guy didn't even bother doing that. He literally just set up the all the trap cards. So he summons the 2 Exosisters to the field in a moment. Yeah, batters, putting the 2 Exos on the field. So now if I use my graveyard, I'm in an awful lot of shit, so I have to beat him without touching my graveyard. He uses Returnier already, we've got a Serapis in hand. I love Serapis, man, this card is so good. Huge fan of Serapis. Especially when you can use it with Small World in this deck, because it pairs very well with the Kaiju, which is also level 7. Alright, as I just banished the Kaiju there, showing we can do it. Alright, yeah, without using the graveyard, we're going to make our Stardust. Not going to summon back the level 2, obviously, but get the 1. Swap it out with the skill, and because he's already nuked his own life points, he's just dead on field. Who needs the graveyard anyway? Alright, up next we have this dude here. Who's playing a Borreload, and I think this is the other going second replay I saved. I didn't save too many going second replays because obviously the going second stuff is more just standard Fluor stuff. You do go into your Orcust after you've sort of removed the field with the Fluor stuff, but a lot of going second with this deck does feel very fun because there's a lot of breaking fields stuff with it, especially the Resonator matchup. That can be really fun, but it does take a lot of tech cards, basically. You have to open essentially 2 tech cards or a tech card and a small world to break a Resonator field, but you can do it, and it leads to a lot of fun gameplay of just actually just trying to play through a lot of interruption and stuff. But I didn't save too many of them because I was mostly want to show the Orcust stuff, and a lot of the going second stuff with this deck is just Fluor stuff, which you've probably seen before. Alright. So, Kaijus are also really good in this matchup, because this deck has Rapid Trigger, which I'm pretty sure makes the thing unaffected from extra deck. The unaffected bad side effects of monster summon from the extra deck. So, Kaiju, really good versus this stuff. Turns out Kaijus are just really good at the moment. Especially, like, I know I mentioned the Resonator matchup before, but Kaijus against Resonator is really fun, because you use the Kaiju to get rid of level 9, then you search for or already have the big Fluor dude, this dude here. And this card obviously pops a card and summons something from your opponent's graveyard when it summons this thing back. And because you Kaiju their level 9, you can steal their level 9 negate from the graveyard if they don't use Disruption on your Fluor. So it's really a nice little combo with those two. These two have a lot of synergy. Well, I guess these 3 technically, because this card gets summoned from it. Anyway, Stravasing to stop his pop. Making the Evening Star, sending a card to graveyard. This deck has so much room for tech cards, man. And because the tech cards happen to be light and dark, you can just use them for small world targets. Makes it so nice. Alright, Synchro going to be reviving back. Dribbling off with his monster gets unaffected, making the Croc. Croc gonna be drawing, discarding, popping a card. Bulb reviving, and yeah, we could just use the skill to swap out a card for a monster so he was dead on field. Alright, up next we have Apple on the Predaplant. This guy was playing because the ban list just came into place, he was playing post-ban list Predaplant, but he also wasn't playing the Kaiju, which isn't very good considering, if you guys don't know, post-ban list Predaplant is actually still really good, and they're all still playing the Kaiju. They actually cut the fusion monster, which feels so weird to say, considering it's like the deck's main boss monster. They've cut that, and they're all playing the Kaiju, and they're still winning tournaments with it, so whatever. Alright, so I do the combo a little bit differently here, because I wasn't sort of using the, I wasn't using the Cyburst monster properly. So I think I end up using my skill here instead. This is a different way you can do the combo if you don't want to use the Cyburst monster. Because you make the Croc, drawing the card, summon back the Bulb, making the IP, putting the dude on the field, and then I use my skill to get this in the graveyard, which is another way you can do the combo, but then you just sort of waste your skill use, when I think the skill use is pretty important for follow-up turns, so I think it's probably better to go into the Link 1. Because you need to play the Link 1 anyway, because the level 3 version of this combo does need to use the skill initially to swap out for a level 8, so you can go into the Crocodile. You'll understand when you play a deck. You normal summon the Scrap Monster, and if you normal summon the Scrap Monster, you can't quite get to the level 9, because obviously the 3 plus the whatever is only going to get you to 7 rather than to 8 for your big Synchro Monster. So you need to use your skill there to swap it out. So Link 1 does need to be played in here, but if you want to not use the Link 1 for whatever reason, you can yeah, do the combo line this way. Puts a Predaplant counter on the Dingirsu for some reason. Yeah, I think maybe versus this archetype, I should probably start with Dingirsu in Graveyard like I did versus Hero, because obviously if they Predaplant counter this, remove it, I'd have no way to summon Ding back, it's just stuck on the field until they remove it. So maybe I should start with Ding in the Graveyard versus this archetype, probably better. Alright, Predaplant. Scorpio, you're gonna be putting the dude on field. Thank god he didn't have a Kaiju, man. If he just Kaiju this, I would have just lost the game, surely. Basically, it's going to let him do all that he wants until this thing's on the field, and we're going to remove this, because this card tries to attribute your opponent's stuff, which is a big no-no. Get this out the way. Getting our big dude on field, who is very good versus Predaplant. Because they like to revive from the graveyard. This dude obviously stops graveyard revives. This deck essentially sets up 4 lots of disruption. You have the Croc, you have the Dingisu in graveyard, you have the IP to remove one of your opponent's cards, whether that be through Unicorn or through Underworld. And if you go for Underworld, you can set up a graveyard prevention where they can't summon back from the graveyard. So 4 disruptions. Although it's more like 3.5, because the graveyard disruption is a bit of an iffy one, but it is something that can be used in matchups like this one. Seeing the harp so you can use it whenever. Don't care about this whatsoever. We do care about this though. We don't want him recycling resources. Fuck that. This deck generates resources too often. Get this shit out of here. Tries to revive. We have a negate. No thank you. And he didn't know. Underworld Goddess, of course, protected from targeting any effect that isn't a targeting effect. This guy's attack isn't a targeting effect, so it's not going to work. He isn't going to get the attack boost because it needs to actually resolve to gain the attack boost. So he just loses his own monster. Harp summon back, and yeah, he's already conceded. Alright, he might even have the hand trap in hand, which could have saved him there. Not sure what he, Anyway. Moving on, final replay. This is up against a Resonator. So I think against Resonator, going first, you're not favored if they open well. If they open sort of a mid-ish hand, where they've only got, like, their standard combo line, don't open many extenders, you're probably completely fine. But against, like, a decent Resonator hand, you have no chance. There's just no way you play through all their extenders. They have to open all the extenders and stuff. It just depends on what they open. Alright. So, of course, Small World going to be searching for my dude. Armageddon Knight milling. Yeah, so these are the same combo as the previous replay. I think most of the time you should be going for the Link one instead, rather than using the skill like I did in this one. Alright, so we'll fast forward a little bit. Banishing, summoning back. These two become the Automaton. We're finally making the Dingisu, and we're good to go. Alright, so this trap card is rather annoying because if they target, well, obviously the IP, I can't get this in the graveyard for the rest of the turn. So this might also be a matchup where I should probably keep Dingisu in the graveyard just so I don't have to use the Crocodile immediately, because I have to use Croc immediately to pop this. Because if they get the level 3 tuner in the graveyard, that stops me from popping their stuff once they get the Arcfiend on the field. I can no longer pop the trap card, which means obviously my IP gets screwed over. So I think I just immediately pop this thing. Well, once he does a summon. Yeah, then I just immediately get this thing off the field. I'll force him to use it at least. I'm not really sure if I'm probably not playing the disruptions correctly here in the correct orders, but I'm going to Underworld Goddess, get that thing off the field. Now I have my Underworld Goddess ready if he tries to revive something from graveyard. I should have removed the tuner here. Yeah, 100% should remove the tuner. The reason I didn't remove the tuner is I was under the impression that Resonator could search for with the spell card, they could search for the level 1. Which I was like, oh, I don't want him being able to do that. Yeah, but I couldn't remove the tuner here, and he could search for the spell card, and the spell card doesn't really grab him much. So I definitely should have removed the tuner, for sure. Yeah, so he just grabs a spell here. I thought he could search for the level 1 here, which would have made me removing the tuner bad, but I should remove the tuner, because he couldn't search for it. Scarlet's whatever, we're just going to summon our stuff back. Alright. Goddess stops the revive. He loses his monster, and he's just pretty much dead on field. I could have played this turn better. He probably could have played his turn better as well, to be fair, so... It's whatever. Oh yeah, I also wasn't playing the Link 2 in this deck at this time, the second Link 2. So I had to remove my entire field just to get the Harp in the graveyard. This is a perfect example of why you should be playing more than one Link 2 in the deck. Otherwise, you have to just sort of delete your entire field just to get things like Harp in the graveyard. But yeah. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's replays. Hope you guys enjoyed them. If you do, leave a like, subscribe, that kind of stuff. And yeah, Orcust feels like it's actually a functioning, decent deck now. If you want to see more gameplay of this, like I said, I'll be streaming it tomorrow, probably. So if you want to see the final cog run with this, go, yeah, check out that VOD or watch it when I stream it live. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob? Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis. Oh.